Hello friends. So this is the third and the last lecture on Pablo Neruda's Keeping Quiet. Now, last class we saw the global sweep of this poem, and though the poem looks very simple, say like that, as the style of Robert Frost. We are going to study a poem. You will see that it is about rural life, rural people, simple people. But this is not like that. This is for the whole world. It's an appeal, it's an exhortation. As I told you, the three parts to this poem, first part is exhortation. Let us count up to 12 and all those things. Then second part is about what I want to say. He's explaining. And the third is he says bye. That's very simple. Now, before entering the second part of this poem, let's go through the main points. What do I mean by keeping still? Keeping still, what do I mean by stop for 1 second, then you get an exotic moment, it is a sudden strangeness, it is doing nothing, that is not negative. Yesterday I told you about Macbeth, signifying nothing. It's not that. Nothing will come out of nothing, King Lear. Again, that is negative. But in this case, it is very positive. Because not total inactivity or death. Then what is it? It is life is what it is about. The sudden strangeness, exotic moment, you think of life. That means survival of the human race on the face of this earth. Because human race is threatened by extinction, extermination, total destruction. The Third World War. The Third World War is hanging like the Damocles sword. So it is tough. It's a very difficult moment. We are a critical period that we are going through in history of mankind, in the history of mankind. So that is what he is trying to tell us. Understand? Now the second point is take time to stop, look into ourselves, introspection. So what is this introspection? Looking into yourself. And then proceed, he says. So stop, interrupt this activity. Introspection, stop all the activities, getting and spending. Wordsworth, last class I told you. The world is too much with us. And that is doing nothing. Doing nothing again means something, creative thinking. You look into yourselves and think, meditate. Then the fourth point is, by doing nothing, we interrupt the sadness. Sadness means feverish anxieties of life. Otherwise, you are always, on fire, thinking about this, that, day-to-day affairs, and your problems of life, relationships, failure, broken love, broken-hearted people, broken relationship, and then the global war. So all these are anxieties. By doing nothing, we take time to understand ourselves and explore the life-threatening factors leading to total life-threatening factors. They lead to total destruction, annihilation, and extermination. Three big words to tell you that there will be no survival possibility. The whole thing will be reduced to ashes. You must have seen that explosion of the picture of the explosion of the atom bomb in Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Mushroom smoke. That mushroom smoke is threatening us. Nightmare. We are living in a nightmare. That is what worries the poet. That's what he says. That's why he says, stop, please stop, please stop. Stop, count 12 and stop. Let all the activities come to a grinding halt. Just as you are pulling the chain of a train. The train is going very fast, but you pull it, the chain, then it comes to a sudden stop. So the activities stop, then start, you are looking your minds. And then 6, he says, Mother Earth teaches us this lesson. After winter comes April with sweet, sweet showers. Winter kept us warm, feeding a little life with dried tubers. T.S. Eliot, in the opening lines of his famous poem, The Wasteland. Winter kept us warm, feeding a little life with dried tubers. Dried tubers. Suddenly April comes with these sweet showers. The glory of nature is once again manifested. Renewed life, renewed activity. If you get time, you should read the opening lines of Joseph's prologue to Canterbury Tales. Introduction to the Canterbury Stories. There is one that April with his shure. The drought of March appears to the root tree. Then says Middle English, written in Middle English, but you can read and understand. So the April showers go deep into the roots, and then a new life. The glory of nature is manifested. After winter, like that, let's have a winter of absolutely, let's say, activity. So that's what it is. If winter comes, shall spring be far behind, Shelley says. So after winter comes spring season. Like that, let us say, this is what you learn from the earth. Mother Earth teaches. If winter comes, can spring be far behind? It cannot be. It has to. That's the rhythm. So that rhythm we must also have. We must learn from nature. Understand? And then you have got April with these sweet showers, and life restarts with renewed energy. Like that, we should also. And then, of course, the third is the leave-taking part. So keep quiet, I will go. The global sweep to this poem is given by these ideas: world peace, universal brotherhood, and universal love. And then keeping this in our minds, let us read the poem. What I want should not be confused with the total inactivity. As a teacher, he explains now. What I want should not be confused with the total inactivity. Life is what it is about. So what I was talking, altogether there are 36 lines or 37, because second part is written without much cohesion. Or I can say the structure is a slipshod structure, we say. Sometimes somewhere begins with capital, then again goes back to small letters. Lines sometimes begin with the lines, sometimes begin with the small letters and so on. So it is thoughts of the poet as it is. Life is what it is about. That's the most important line in this poem. I am talking about nothing but life. Life means survival of the human race, survival of mankind. I want not truck with that. Not truck with, I don't associate with that. I am not truck with anyone means I don't associate with anyone. So not truck with that. No, please don't confuse. Don't get confused thinking that I am talking to you about death. I am talking about death. Life in death. That's the point. Life in death. Life in death. Not death assess, but life in death. There should be life in death. Oxymoron. Regularly irregular like that. It's an oxymoron. Seemingly contradictory. My beginning is my end. These are examples for figure of speech called oxymoron. If we were not so single-minded means focused on one project. All the students should be single-minded. What does that mean? All the students, your primary focus should be on your studies. But in this case, humans are single-minded. For what? About keeping our lives moving. That is, getting and spending, we lay waste our powers. That is the thing. All international conferences, treaties, SALT, START. What is SALT? Strategic Arms Limitation Talks. SALT. That is an acronym. You form that word by putting together the initials of 4 words. Strategic Arms Limitation Talks. So you are thinking how to survival, our life moving. We are single-minded on that. And for once could do nothing. Why are you always talking, thinking like this? Stop. Let there be an interval. Let's have an interval. Take some time off. Perhaps a huge silence. Huge silence can be duration as well as dimension. The silence, huge silence. Perhaps a huge silence might interrupt this sadness. This sadness, the world is too much with us, getting and spending sadness. The world is now being threatened by atomic war. The world is now being threatened by a war at the end of which neither there will be vanquished nor victor. Neither will there be victors nor will there be defeated. Sadness. That sadness is a huge sadness. Your day-to-day life, your anxieties, your problems, life's problems, the problems that you create, the problems that the divinely created, the problems that humans create, the problems that you yourself create, the confusions, the quarrels, the fights, the infights. So this is sadness. This sadness should be interrupted and stopped. A temporary stop. The TV anchors, sorry for the interruption. So there should be time out. This in basketball you have seen time out. There should be time out to get rid of this sadness of never understanding ourselves. So the contrast here is keeping our lives moving and never understanding ourselves. We are all the time busy with keeping our lives moving. We don't even spend a minute, a second for understanding ourselves. That means that introspection. That means looking into yourself. That means looking into the way the human race is proceeding, going forward. No doubt, if we proceed in this speed, in this way, in this style, what is going to happen? It will be like waves, huge waves, rushing towards the shore, and then breaking into vapors. That means the waves will disappear. That would be the type of life that we will be leading the movement. So stop keeping ourselves moving, instead try to understand ourselves and of threatening ourselves with death. I told you, global war. It is threatening ourselves with death here means it is micro as well as macro. Micro level, you are destroying yourself. Macro level, the world is going to, human race is going to become extinct. That is what pains the poets. That's why he says, what I mean is not that I don't want any truck with that, but what I want is that instead of just keeping our lives moving, you should stop and understand yourself by means of introspection and take proper action now. Perhaps the earth can teach us. Here is a very good example, your Mother Earth, as when everything seems dead, the winter season. Everything. You remember the opening lines of Love Earth, Dame Sans Mercy. What ails thee night at times, alone and palely loitering? Isn't it? And then he says, the head has, there is, what ails thee night at times, alone and what ails thee night at times, alone and palely loitering, the hedges wither from the lake, and no birds sing. And no birds sing. No birds sing means inactivity. Nothing happens. No birds sing. But then what happens? Those lines, I don't know whether I have quoted, rightly quoted. What ails thee night at times, alone and palely loitering, the hedges withered from the lake, and no birds sing. Yes, correct. I did not actually want to quote that in this class at this juncture, but it came to me. Well, the best way to explain inactivity in nature is those lines. And no birds sing. Full and final, and no birds sing. Threatening ourselves with that. Perhaps the earth can teach us. As when everything seems, 3 points I quoted. One is T.S. Eliot, winter kept us warm. Isn't it? Feeding a little life with dried tubers. No activity. Then it was Shelley said, if winter comes, can spring be far behind? Winter, time of death and inactivity in nature. No activity, doing nothing. But then comes spring. And Chaucer opens, April is the April, when that April with its showers sweet. Understand? Why? Because just before that you have got a period of total inactivity. This is what we learn from nature, says Neruda. So why can't you also follow the same rhythm? Perhaps the earth can teach us as when everything seems dead, later proves to be alive. That's what I said. With the sweet showers of the spring, Thus renewed life restarts with renewed activity. The birds sing throughout the night. They open their eyes. They cannot go to sleep because of the energy that is supplied by nature. So that will happen. So why don't you do that? Look at nature and learn from nature. Learn from Mother Earth. Then he says, the poet says, now I will count up to 12. And you keep quiet, I will go. I will count up to 12. It is like a coach. Just before the game begins, the match begins, he calls the team, members of the team. He stands in the center and he says, now do this, do that, do this. And now you go. You go to play the match. I will go. I cannot play. I will go. Like a team manager or a manager of a team. So I will recite those lines once again. What I want should not be confused with total inactivity. Life is what it is about. I want no truck with that. If we were not so single-minded about keeping our lives moving and for once could do nothing, perhaps a huge silence might interrupt this sadness of our understanding ourselves. The sadness is caused because you don't understand yourself, you don't understand the present situation, you don't understand anything. You know nothing. You are like animals going forward, the poet says. Ourselves and threatening ourselves with death. So those lines you should read without any stop. If we were not so single-minded about keeping our lives moving and for once could do nothing, perhaps a huge silence might interrupt this sadness of never understanding ourselves and of threatening ourselves with death. This is the crisis. This is the fear that has gripped mankind. And then he says, as a good teacher, look at nature. Perhaps the earth can teach us. As when everything seems dead, like in winter, and later proves to be alive. Now, therefore, my dear friends, count to 12. And start introspection. Here I will go. That's what he says. Now go through these points once again, then you will understand it better. Life is what it is about, survival of the human race. The explanation part second, keep still, stop for 1 second, exotic moment, sudden strain, and doing nothing means not total inactivity or death. Take time to stop, look into ourselves, introspection, and then proceed. Introspection means stop all the activities, external activities, getting and spending. That is doing nothing, positive sense. Then we have by doing nothing we interrupt the sadness, that is the feverish anxieties of life. By doing nothing we take time to understand ourselves and explore the life-threatening factors leading to total destruction, annihilation and the extermination. Mother Earth teaches us this lesson. After winter comes April, that means spring with its sweet showers and life restarts with renewed energy. Finally, the leave taking part, so keep quiet, I will go. I think you have understood now. You see that the magnitude of the poet's imagination. Count up to 12 and I will go.